he fled the scene when the girl refused to stop screaming, which sounds like a average date night for me.
Someone gives you the stink eye and you just quit like Rosie O'Donnell on a treadmill 5 seconds in.
I apologize in advance.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
So I was having a conversation with Sarah the other day. I was trying to find out whether or not she is, in fact, a lesbian. Like, we need to see some proof of this.
Oh, no.
So in the midst of this conversation, she sent me this kind of cool article about this caterpillar. It's a bone collector caterpillar. It feasts on dead and dying insects caught in spider webs. And then it decorates itself in these, like, bones and skin and all this weird shit like a fucking serial killer bug.
Yeah, this is the Buffalo Bill of caterpillars.
Yeah, it's really rare too. Like, it's only native to a mountain range in Oahu, Hawaii. It's like only a 6 square mile area it lives in exclusively. Lives in like cobwebs, logs, and trees and rocks.
It's crazy.
Fucking weird.
Yes.
So,
covers itself with the legs, the wings, the heads of dead insects.
Yeah.
When hoarders die and they come back as caterpillars, that's what these guys are. Just fucking
absolutely
nasty.
So it sits in spider webs and it like hides itself from the spider using these bones and the skin. And the spider comes up and smells it and it's like, oh shit, I don't want that. That's like last week's. That smells terrible. It's kind of a lot like Sarah's meatloaf.
Yes.
Yeah. Carnivorous caterpillars are really rare. They make up about 0.13% of the species. Yeah, after more than 20 years of field work, they only came up with 62 specimens of these fucking things.
That would rock all these, like, what are these scientists that investigate bugs? What are they called again?
Bug ethologists.
Bug ethologists, yes. You have to look that up, Sarah. We need to know that. That would rock their world to see something this rare and crazy.
Yeah. So in terms of survival, the bone collectors aren't really helping their cause because they are super territorial. So like if another caterpillar is like, I'm going to get something out of this fucking spider web. If there's already a caterpillar there, they'll fight each other and kill each other.
They'll eat each other.
Yeah. A lot like Sarah when she's with her lesbian lover.
Yes. This is the same reason they keep Whoopi Goldberg 10 feet from Joey Behar on The View. Ugh. I'm never.
So we thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, there it is. We're gonna get into now the alphabet killer.
So when I found the article, I thought, what if there was a serial killer that did this? And there are some, but I mean, it's pretty wild that he decorates himself in heads and bones and skins of others that are already dead.
Put the lotion in the fucking basket, bitch.
It's an entomologist. That's what it is. An entomologist studies bugs.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you.
Yes. So when they're looking up Whoopi Goldberg's crotch lice thing, it's an entomologist that looks into that.
That's what we need.
Not a gynecologist. Yes.
Got it.
Entomologist.
Today we're going to be talking about the murders of several girls by a couple of rapscallions. The alphabet murders, also known as the double initial murders. They are an unsolved series of child murders that occurred in the 70s, between 1970 and 1973, in the Rochester, New York area. So don't go to Rochester.
What a shithole.
Yeah. We're going to see here in a few minutes, there was a lot of big murderers that came from Rochester, New York.
This is the recruitment center of America.
Yeah. If you're a creep and you want to kill children, you're probably from Rochester, New York.
Yes.
All 3 victims were girls. They were aged 10 or 11. Their last name began with the same letter as their first name. Each victim had been sexually assaulted and murdered by either manual strangulation or with a ligature, which is like a rope or a belt or some other device, before their body was discarded in a town or village near Rochester with a name beginning with the same letter as their first or last name. So the initials of their first and last name were the same, and the towns where their bodies were dumped started with the first letter of their first and last name. That's where the alphabet murder or the double initial murder name came from.
So it's beyond coincidence because some were like dumped 17 miles from their house.
Yeah.
To make sure they make it to whatever their last name started with.
Yeah, they were definitely taken somewhere else. They weren't just abducted, whatever, murdered, and then dumped right there. They were deliberately taken somewhere. As we'll see with the first victim here, it's kind of interesting that we just did Kitty Genovese because there was another case of the bystander effect with this first girl.
Yeah. Psychologists have found that before most killers attack, they usually experience like stressful life events such as like a relationship breakup, financial difficulties, tariffs, the new Minecraft movie.
Yeah, those are doing it for me.
Yeah, Katy Perry in space. Everybody knows that Katy Perry brought a daisy in outer space to represent her daughter.
Yeah,
but few know that Gail King brought a Ziploc bag of dog shit to represent her best friend Oprah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we're going to talk about the three victims here. The first one was Carmen Colon. At 4:20 p.m. on November 16th of 1971, she disappeared while returning home from an errand that her parents sent her on in Rochester. That's another thing. You're going to see all these murders. They were all the parents sending their kids out to the store or whatever. So, like, stop! Don't send your 10-year-olds out to run groceries in Rochester, to run errands and whatever in Rochester.
That's how it always was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
This all happened like the 70s and 80s. Well, the 70s.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about their fucking kids.
Yeah. So she was going to a pharmacy to pick up a prescription for her grandmother, and she left the store upon learning the prescription wasn't ready. And reportedly, upon leaving, she nervously looked at the store owner, a gentleman named Jack Corbin, and said, I gotta go. Then she was observed entering a car parked close to the pharmacy. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Colon was reported missing to the Rochester Police Department at 7:50 p.m. So it's like 3 hours later, too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Guy's doing like a head count on his 9 fucking kids.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down to 8, whatever.
Right.
Her grandma's prescription. You see how syphilis kills not just the people who have it. Thanks a lot, Grandma.
Right. So approximately 50 minutes after Carmen exited the pharmacy, so many motorists driving along Interstate 490 observed a child naked from the waist down running from a car that was reversing, trying to track this girl down. It was believed to be a dark-colored Ford Pinto, which is a piece of shit car.
Yes.
She was frantically waving her arms, shouting in an attempt to flag down a passing vehicle, and multiple people reportedly witnessed this and did nothing. So this is the bystander effect again, in full effect again.
They didn't even go home and call the cops.
Nothing. They just kept driving.
That was probably very common back then. So common they didn't even notice that and focused on something else. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, look, honey, there's a couple of deer. You don't see that every day. And she's all, where? And he's like, behind the half-naked bloody girl playing hard to get from her creepy-ass uncle
Yeah.
running down the side of the fucking highway.
Yikes, yeah.
Why did not one car even, like, stop? Or
I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon. At least one witness also observed Carmen being caught and led back to the vehicle by a man.
Oh, yeah, that's just messed up.
Yeah. 2 days later, teenage boys discovered Colon's partially nude body in a gully not far from Interstate 490, close to the village of Churchville. So that there you go with her name was Carmen Colon, found in the village of Churchville. The location was approximately 12 miles from where she had last been seen alive. Her coat was discovered in a culvert some 300 feet from her body. Her pants were later discovered on November 30th, close to the service road, near where numerous motorists had observed her trying to escape her abductor. So they took her pants off. He threw the pants out the window. They found the pants a few days later. This first one was a little bit messy. The guy does get a little bit more creative as we go along here. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, those teenagers were on bikes when they rolled up on the scene. That's why I don't ride bikes, Coop. It's always people on bikes that find the worst shit.
Yeah, joggers or bikers.
All of that.
Yeah.
Huffy Bike should come with the owner's pamphlet on 2 things. 1, how to get the fuck off the road when a motorized vehicle is coming.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
No
I get
kidding
so
there.
fucking pissed at those douchebags in those tight-ass shorts with their dumbass helmets.
Yeah.
their fucking cleated shoes.
Yeah.
Owning the fucking road. Oh my goodness. And 2, what to do when you find a dead body. Not if, but when you find a dead body.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So the autopsy revealed that in addition to having been raped, she had suffered a skull fracture and a fractured vertebrae before she had been manually strangled to death. Furthermore, her body had been extensively scratched by fingernails, sort of indicating probably like some defensive, she was trying to defend herself in some way.
If it was those Lee press-on nails from the 70s, she would have probably survived. Those things are unbreakable.
Yeah,
My
like-
grandma used to wear those.
Yeah, like Wolverine.
Yes. They're only good for 2 things: impressing your friends and gutting a deer. Those things were razor sharp. And you hear stories of plane crashes. There was one that happened in Detroit a long time ago. And the only things that aren't destroyed are the Lee press-on nails on the victims and the black box.
Right, yeah.
Probably because they're both made of the same material.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Both the murder and the fact that no one had observed the child attempting to flee from her abductor alongside Interstate 490 had attempted to offer her any kind of assistance, rightly so, generated some public outrage. 2 New York newspapers, the Times-Union and the Democrat and Chronicle, that's one newspaper, the Democrat and Chronicle, kind of confusing, initially offered a combined reward of $2,500 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of her murderer, and all information each publication received was forwarded to the police. Numerous local businesses and residents added private donations to the reward fund, gradually leading the sum to exceed $6,000. Although police interrogated several suspects in the months following Cologne's murder, including her uncle, no individual was charged with her murder, and by December, the number of investigators assigned to the case on a full-time basis was decreased to 3.
Yeah, what was it before? 4?
Yeah, who knows?
$6,000, that's it? Can you imagine if that
$6,000.
was your kid, how bad that would hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, we all banded together and they gave us $2,500, so we're up to $6,000.
Well, yeah, six grand though, like in the 70s, was probably like, $7,000 now.
Yeah. so you can get 2 Ford Pintos, so you can double your killing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
In early 1972, 5 large billboards were constructed alongside major Rochester expressways. Each one bore an image of the child alongside the headline, "Do you know who killed Carmen Cologne?" Free use of these billboards was given for 1 month by the Rochester Outdoor Advertising Company, and each one offered the $6,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Carmen Cologne's murder or murderers, in addition to displaying a telephone number hotline and a postal address, which had been established in November to encourage the public to submit anonymous information. Although this tactic generated several new leads, none of them panned out.
How bad would it feel when you see they gave a whole month free so you can on that billboard, and once that's taken down, it goes back to like
Jiffy Lube.
Yeah, Dark Donnie's dildo cells.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
That'd be so painful.
Yes. 17 months later, at approximately 5 p.m. on April 2nd, 1973, 11-year-old Wanda Walkowitz disappeared from the east side of Rochester while also returning home from an errand. Fucking parents sending their little kids on errands, man.
Yes.
According to the owner of a local delicatessen Wanda had been instructed to visit, the child had purchased groceries she'd been instructed to buy before she had begun walking alone down Conkney Avenue. Wanda was reported missing by her mother later that evening at 8 p.m. Police immediately launched an intense search to locate her. 50 detectives searched several square miles of terrain around her home, the deli, and areas around the Genesee River, where she had been known to play. These searches failed to locate the child, although several neighborhood residents recall observing Wanda struggling to carry the bag of groceries walking just north of Avenue B. 3 of her classmates specifically observed her bracing the bag against a fence so that she could improve her grip as the brown vehicle drove past her.
Groceries were heavy as hell back then.
Yeah.
Everything was in glass bottles.
Glass bottles, the big tub of lard for cooking, and
Heck yes, it was like in a steel drum. Everything was crazy. When I see that, I think about like Kevin McAllister from Home Alone as he's walking along and the bags just give out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Wanda's fully clothed body was found by a police officer the following day. She had been discarded at the base of a hillside alongside an access road to State Route 104 in Webster. So again, Wanda Walkowitz and discarded in a town called Webster, approximately 7 miles from her home in Rochester. The position of her body indicated that she had likely been thrown from a moving vehicle with her body rolling down the embankment. Autopsy revealed she had been sexually assaulted and then strangled from behind with a ligature, which was determined to most likely have been a belt. Several defensive wounds indicated Wanda had fought her murderer. Additionally, her body had been redressed after death, which is fucking creepy.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. The autopsy also revealed traces of semen and pubic hair on the child's body. Furthermore, several strands of a white cat fur, which is going to kind of be a little bit important later, were found on her clothing. Although her family did not own a pet with that color hair anyway. So, yeah, remember that.
That's not cat hair, Cooper. It's the neck hair of Keith. I want to air quote this. I killed Matthew Perry Morrison. That fucking weirdo from Dateline. Have you seen how long his neck hair is?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
It's like gross.
It's like a mullet. It's an unintentional mullet.
Yes. On cold, wintry days, he can just pull it around and use it as a fucking scarf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude creeps me out, man.
Yeah. So, as had been the case with Carmen, investigators did establish an anonymous phone line in addition to distributing flyers throughout Rochester, appealing for information, and a reward of $10,000. So, a lot more for the white girl. For information leading to the arrest and conviction of the murderer was also established.
Ouch. $2,500 for Carmen, but $10,000 for Wanda. This is proof people will pay more for redheads.
Yes.
No question.
So police inquiries produced an eyewitness who informed investigators that as Wanda had walked home from the delicatessen on the afternoon of April 2nd, he had observed the child standing alongside the passenger side door of a large brown vehicle, conversing with the driver.
When I see that, I think of Clark Griswold. It's got to be Clark Griswold from National Lampoon's Christmas.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That was great.
Great movie.
Yes.
The eyewitness was unable to obtain a clear view of the occupant of the vehicle.
Because Clark Griswold had a huge-ass Christmas tree on the roof of that fucking car.
Yeah.
No, I feel bad for this Wanda chick, because you know how, like, back in the day, even, like, when people would look in the mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times, you got all these myths back in the day from all the stuff that you grew up in. You know kids were, like, on the playground on a hill, and they're like, I'm Wanda Walkowitz, and they roll down the fucking hill. It's like,
oh, jeez.
You know that.
Yeah.
Not good.
The location of this sighting was just 0.2 of a mile, or about 1,056 feet from Wanda's home. So she was abducted really close by, close to her house.
Yeah.
Another individual who had contacted police following the installation of the anonymous hotline informed investigators she had observed a man forcing a red-haired girl matching Wanda's description into a light-colored Dodge Dart on Conkney Avenue between 5:30 p.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. on the evening of her disappearance. So sort of a little bit of varying reports from potential witnesses. The Rochester Police Department, at this point anyway, dismissed any suggestion of a link between the murders of, at this point, Carmen and Wanda.
You know why? Because that's more paperwork.
Yeah.
And fuck that. There's a new episode of The Waltons coming on tonight, Cooper. I saw like a poster of that, and I'm looking. There's 11 people in that fucking Waltons show. 11 people living in that small little country farmhouse.
Yep.
7 kids and the parents of the
parents
kids.
and the grandpa and grandma.
Yeah, that show should have been called I Can't Keep My Dick in My Pants.
Yeah.
But that was taken later and changed to the Bill Cosby Show, so whatever. But get this, that Grandpa Walton, he just looks creepy. So I saw the poster, I'm like, man, this guy's fucking creepy. His name is Will Gear.
Yep.
And in real life, he was Harry Hayes' real-life lover. And Harry Hayes was considered the founder of the gay rights movement. That's fine. But do you wonder if that played a part in how Wheel Gear Grandpa Walton wanted to do scenes?
Is that true?
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
So, yeah, I could just see this Grandpa Walton guy going, okay, at the end of the show, instead of me saying good night when they call my name, how about I make a gagging noise like I'm deep throating a fucking baseball bat?
I'm going to tell my mom that because she
Yeah.
made me watch the Waltons a lot as a kid.
Even better. Let's go deeper with Harry Hayes. He was not only that, he was a communist and an active supporter. This is piquant. An active supporter of the pedophile advocacy organization called the North American Man/Boy Association.
It was not really called that, was it?
Yes, because I
Jeez.
thought there's no fucking way.
What do they call them now? Like minor attracted people?
Cub Scout leaders.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, but this organization for real tried to abolish the age of consent laws and release any freak jailed for sexual contact with a minor that didn't involve coercion. He literally tried to legalize pedophilia, and he fought hard for it. So I want to know what their definition of coercion is.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, little Johnny, you don't have to do this, but we think you might be a wizard. So if you can trick my Walton Wobbler into making glue instead of pee, you're a wizard. And wizards deserve unlimited ice cream. Few people know that this was the inspiration behind Harry Potter. Just want you to know that. But no, he did all that. And this dude, if you Google a picture of him, there's like a couple of pictures of him towards the end of his life. He looked like fucking Bob Barker in a Sunday dress. He wore this long, weird dress. He had this old hair and this top hat thing going on.
Wow. I did.
Yeah.
I always thought the grandpa on that show was a little bit, off, but I didn't know how much.
That's Grandpa Walton's lover in real life.
Wow.
Woo.
Wow.
Yeesh.
7 months later, on the evening of November 26th, 1973, 11-year-old Michelle Mayenza was reported missing by her mother after she had failed to return home from school. Subsequent investigations would determine that Michelle was last seen by her classmates at approximately 3:30 p.m., walking alone towards a shopping plaza located close to her school with the intention of retrieving a purse her mother had left inside the store the day prior.
You wonder if her husband was a jerk after that, What? Did you misplace your purse again? Because we can't afford to lose any more fucking children, Barbara.
Right.
It's always a Barbara.
Hey, I had a best friend from middle school named Barbara.
She a stupid bitch that left shit behind, too.
Did you eat her pussy out?
I knew he was going to go that route.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Why didn't she go pick up her damn purse while the kid was in school?
Parents back then did not want kids. They wanted fucking servants.
Servants,
Yes. Yeah. I need somebody to haul these heavy-ass groceries home.
Her mom was probably at home watching, something on. What do you watch back in the 70s? MASH?
All in the Family, MASH.
Yeah.
Bob Barker's Bulge with that weird-ass microphone that he had.
Yeah.
Weird.
So approximately 10 minutes later, after 3:30 p.m., so about 3:40, a witness observed Michelle sitting in the passenger seat of a beige or tan vehicle. So it's always like a beige or tan vehicle that people reported, except for the one lady, she reported a light colored. That could be tan or beige, though. Witnessed a Michelle sitting in the passenger seat of a beige or tan vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed on Ackerman Street before turning onto Webster Avenue. According to this witness, Michelle was crying. At 5:30 p.m. on November 26th, a motorist observed a man standing by a large beige or tan vehicle with a flat tire, parked alongside Route 350 in the town of Walworth, holding a girl he strongly believed to be Michelle by the wrist. When the motorist stopped to offer assistance, the individual deliberately grabbed the girl and pushed her back behind his back, and also obscured the person's vision from his license plate and stared at him in a menacing way. So much so that the motorist felt intimidated and felt he was compelled to drive away like a giant fucking pussy.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Someone gives you the stink eye and you just quit like Rosie O'Donnell on a treadmill 5 seconds in. I can't believe that. And they showed like a composite sketch of this loser. He kind of looks like Robert Redford. Like, and,
He kind of does.
He kind of does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Michelle's fully clothed body was discovered in the morning hours of November 28th, lying face down in a ditch alongside a rural road in Macedo, which again, Michelle Macedo and this was approximately 15 miles from Rochester. Autopsy revealed that in addition to receiving extensive blunt force trauma to her body, Michelle had been raped, then strangled to death from behind with a ligature. This time they thought it was possibly a thin rope. And again, numerous strands of white cat fur were discovered on her clothing. Leaf and foliage samples were found clenched in her hand, and they matched the plant life in the area, indicating she had likely been strangled to death at or near the location she was found. Investigators were able to retrieve a partial palm print from her neck and traces of semen on her body and underwear. A forensic analysis of the semen samples determined she had been raped by one individual. An analysis of the contents of Michelle's stomach revealed traces of a hamburger and onions, which had been consumed approximately 1 hour before her murder. This information gave some credence to witnesses' reports of a girl matching Michelle's description being seen in the company of a white man with dark hair, aged between 25 and 35, approximately 6 feet tall, and weighing 165 pounds at a fast food restaurant on the afternoon of her disappearance.
This says Robert Redford all over it.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
This guy looks like him.
Paul Newman left him high and dry, so he had to find somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think this Michelle was lured in with the promise of a burger and soft drink.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, see, this proves my point on how good McDonald's was back in the fucking day.
Yeah.
You could get a creepy old man with a sock puppet over his dick, no pants, and still get people to agree to ride with him once you show that little bag with the golden arches on it.
Absolutely. All three victims were buried in Rochester at the Holy Sepulchre Cemetery, and they all had a large number of mourners in attendance. And this is weird. I came across this little tidbit, and it's fucking weird. So Michelle's father stated at the conclusion of her funeral service that Michelle was a, quote, sweet girl, and she didn't fight much. So his name was Christopher, and he was never investigated or charged with any crime. But that is a fucking weird thing to say.
Yeah.
My daughter, she was nice. She didn't fight much when I was raping her.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
What else did he say? Like, yeah, she loved eating burgers before sex and had
Yeah.
a silly fetish with erotic asphyxiation. You know,
that guy. I don't know. Like, someone should probably check him out a little bit.
do not let him do your eulogy. It will go south.
Absolutely.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Wow.
Following the murder of Michelle Mayenza, investigators released a composite drawing of the individual seen with the child by numerous witnesses to the media. They also installed another all-inclusive hotline. This is for all three of the victims to the manhunt for the perpetrator. Previously, the cops were like, there's probably no connection. But by this point, they're like, well, maybe there is.
Yes.
Yeah. So both contemporary and current investigators have stated the possibility that each victim had been selected due to the double initials of her name is unlikely. As for an offender to pre-select victims for this reason would have likely involved stalking over an extensive period of time, which would increase the risk of being noticed. Some investigators believe that although the murders of Wanda and Michelle may have been committed by the same individual, the murder of Carmen strongly indicates her murder was committed by a known individual and possibly someone related to her, which we'll get into here real shortly. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The evidence surrounding the names and the cities where the bodies were dumped, all matching, is too coincidental for me to fully accept those theories, though.
Oh, yeah. Why couldn't he target people that we don't like? Like Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
I don't know. I fucking hate him, Cooper. Probably because his voice is so shitty. Have you ever heard him try to sing?
Yeah, he's got a very punchable face, too.
It's like, what? That's the noise you make your first time you're getting your prostate checked. He has this horrible voice. No, what I don't like about him is I saw a poster. He was in a movie called The Star is Born with Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, the original one, right?
Yeah, and for some reason, these gross fucking nasty white guys back in the 70s all thought they were cool with their shirt off.
Yeah.
I see Sarah looking at me all mad. Gross as hell. Anyway, so he's leaning over on the poster and he's kissing Big Nose, whatever. What the
Barbra
fuck is
Streisand.
yes. I have to
Yeah.
go over the whole list. Holocaust nose. Anyway, he's kissing her. His fucking saggy tits are bigger than hers.
Yeah.
It's like somebody needs to lock this shit up. Okay, other people I wanted this this alphabet killer to get is definitely Chevy Chase.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
He's fucking washed up, and he thinks he's so relevant. He's useless. He's only as funny as his writers were.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So he was walking through Saturday Night Live when he was like the host the last time he was there, like 8 years ago, and he was being a dick to all the staff and all the other actors.
Yeah, I heard he was a nightmare on SNL, yeah.
Yeah, I would have been like, why the fuck is this janitor talking to us like this? I would have just demoted that piece of shit. And most importantly, this alphabet killer needed to kill Ellen Alda. Mostly because of MASH. You ever watch MASH?
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen it, but I was like 6. And when that shitty theme song came on TV, I knew my night was fucked. My dad and my grandpa, they just love watching that shit. For a 6-year-old, that is hell to struggle through. Oh my goodness. What was it about, like surgeons in Vietnam or something like that? Or Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had PTSD from that fucking show. Horrible. Even better, Bob Barker. That dude is cool. He's all orange with white thin patches of poofy hair and all dead. Or what Melania calls Donald Trump's left testicle.
Yeah.
Fucking gross. But I think you and I are on the same page, Coop. Not Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, no, she's a national treasure.
Yes, that poor, brave soul deserves a better life full of care and compassion and deep tissue massages. And
Yeah.
I see Sarah shaking her head. Sorry, Sarah. Sorry.
All right, so now we're going to get into some of the suspects that were associated with the Alphabet murders. Some of these guys, and remember when we started this, all of these assholes are from Rochester, New York. So
All of them.
Not a good time to be living in Rochester, New York.
No.
So the first one is Miguel Colon. So this is Carmen's uncle, and he is a very strong suspect in her murder. Only hers, and we'll go into why here. So Carmen would often walk to the pharmacy to collect the family's prescriptions. She was typically accompanied by her grandfather, whose name was Felix. On the date of her disappearance, Carmen had allegedly asked her grandparents to be allowed to walk to the pharmacy alone. Weeks prior to Carmen's abduction and murder, her uncle is known to have purchased a car closely matching the description of eyewitnesses reversing upon Interstate 490 in the pursuit of Carmen. Police did conduct a search of the vehicle shortly after Carmen's murder, discovering the interior and exterior of the car had been extensively detailed and cleaned. The trunk in particular had been washed with a strong-smelling cleaning solution. So the cops questioned the dealership that had sold the vehicle to Miguel and revealed that the trunk had not been washed with any kind of detergent or anything like that prior to them selling it to him. So, if you remember back, Carmen was in the pharmacy. She was reportedly very nervous, saying, I have to go, followed by immediately getting into a vehicle with someone. This is a strong evidence to me anyway that Carmen knew the person that she got into the car with. So she's in the pharmacy, prescriptions aren't ready, she's like, I gotta go, and she just walks to a car and gets into it.
Yeah,
that's someone you know.
Oh, yeah. And he probably told her this Viagra's wearing off. Hurry the fuck up with grandma's syphilis pills.
So two days after the death of his niece, Miguel informed friends and family of his intention to leave the country, and he stated he had done something wrong in Rochester.
That's her city motto.
Yeah, no kidding.
Done something wrong in Rochester. What did he do? Did he take a shit on someone's front porch?
Right, yeah.
No, you know he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
I bet it leaks out later in his life when he's like role playing in the bedroom with his wife, and he's like, "Okay, honey, you're a hypothetically say an 11-year-old niece, and I'm a donkey riding mercenary with oiled up rock hard abs and a sombrero, suffering severely from a case of the curious fingers."
Yeah, no shit.
Fucking weird. You know he did it.
Oh yeah, he's definitely guilty. So he relocated to Puerto Rico just 4 days after Carmen was murdered. This is kind of interesting. The U.S. authorities did travel to San Juan, Puerto Rico to question Miguel in March of 1972. Somehow, Miguel caught wind of this and he fled. He took off again. But he was eventually surrendered to authorities at the end of March and agreed to be extradited back to Rochester to face questioning. So upon the questioning back in Rochester, And Miguel's like, oh, it's good to be home.
Yes.
Fucking bunch of pedophiles and murderers here. Miguel was unable to provide a credible alibi for his movements on the date of Carmen's murder, and there was no individual that could be located to corroborate his claims regarding his whereabouts. So, despite strong circumstantial, and I want to emphasize strong evidence attesting to Miguel's guilt, no physical evidence was located at the crime scene or within his vehicle to link him to the murder.
These detectives were fucking stupid.
Yeah.
He could have said, when he was asked what he was doing the day of Carmen's disappearance, he could have said, I was killing my niece. And these detectives would still said, oh, we don't have enough evidence.
Yeah, that's not enough. We're going to need something more.
We're going to.
So,
idiots.
Either unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Miguel died by suicide in 1991 at the age of 44, following an instance of domestic violence in which he shot and wounded his wife and his brother.
Yeah. Wow. Rochester's finest.
Yeah, right?
Yes. That's just
His
a backyard
his brother
barbecue.
is probably fucking his wife, and he's just like, I'm going to shoot you both, you motherfuckers.
My turn. That's call it funny. He did it on the same week Gerardo's Rico Suave song came out.
Oh, yeah.
That's reason enough to fucking kill yourself. Have you heard that song?
Yeah, Rico Suave.
Yes. If you went through a Taco Bell in 1991 when that came out, right when they asked what they can get for you, if you said Rico Suave, a few people know they would shit in a bag for you and fill it with a Gordita Crunch. It's a fucking horrible song.
Yeah, it is.
You can't get it out of your head. I'm going to have it all night in my head now.
Yeah. So another suspect, and this guy's definitely a fucking good one too, especially for Michelle and Wanda. Dennis Termini. He was an individual considered to be a strong suspect for those two murders, and he was actually a firefighter and a prolific serial offender known as the Garage Rapist. That's a nice name.
Yes.
Oh, it's the old Garage Rapist. He's here for a beer. Who is known to have committed a minimum of 14 rapes of teenage girls and young women between 1971 and 1973. He is also known to have owned a beige vehicle, similar in description to the vehicle observed by several eyewitnesses to the abductions. What's with all these people in Rochester driving the same fucking car?
Yes. Everybody.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting. He also lived at an address on Bach Street, and it was an address close to the area where Michelle lived and was last seen alive.
I want to go back to everybody driving the same car. Do you know how fucking hard it'd be when you leave the grocery store and you're going out like, which one's mine?
Like, you don't have the thing where you can beep your horn.
You don't have the key fob at all.
Yeah.
You just got to keep grabbing door handles.
Yeah.
Walk across some creepy uncle who's got some dead niece in the back. Well, that's not mine.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Garage Rapist. That sounds like some of the craziest bell tire hires. Yes. There's some creepy fuckers there, Coop.
Yeah, they are.
You go in there asking to have the tread checked on your tires, and they just use the uncircumcised part of their penis to accurately measure it in front of your kids, too.
Oh, man, yeah.
No.
So 5 weeks after the final victim of the Alphabet murders on January 1st of 1974, Termini attempted to abduct a teenage girl at gunpoint, although he fled the scene when the girl refused to stop screaming, which sounds like average date night for me. Shortly thereafter, he abducted another potential victim, although on this occasion he was pursued by the police, culminating in Termini committing suicide by shooting himself in the head. A subsequent forensic examination of Termini's vehicle did reveal traces of, and this is interesting again, of white cat fur on the upholstery.
Yep. It was probably an Uber for Keith. I killed Matthew Perry Morrison.
Yeah.
No, he did it.
In January 2007, Termini's body was exhumed to obtain a DNA sample for comparison with the semen samples recovered from Wanda's body. So if you remember, the DNA from Michelle and Carmen, for whatever reason, was lost or destroyed or whatever, so that they couldn't compare it to all three of the girls, so they just had to do it from Wanda. Unfortunately, it was not a match with the semen found at Wanda's murder.
Horrible. They said a lot of the evidence was destroyed. I am not shocked. These idiot cops.
Yeah.
I saw a picture. They have a picture of it if you like get online and see all like the crime scene stuff. I saw a picture of the cops surveying the crime scene.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
a cigarette in his mouth, ashes falling everywhere. Nobody's wearing gloves. One guy was seriously sitting right where they found Carmen's body.
Yeah, I saw that picture too. He's like, look at me.
Just stretched out, taking my little break.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they found more semen on the back of that cop's pants than in Carmen's entire fucking body.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch one of them, and you know for a fact, one of them, because it's chilly at night, one of them grabs Carmen's coat that they found down the road,
They
just put it on. You know that. Good grief.
All right, so the next guy, and this is a pretty interesting one for the Alphabet Murders, is Killer Kenneth Bianchi, who at the time of the murders was working as an ice cream vendor in Rochester. Even the ice cream vendors are fucking rapists and murderers.
Yes.
He is known to have worked at locations close to the first two murder scenes. Bianchi had relocated from Rochester to L.A. in 1976. Now, this is kind of interesting because Kenneth Bianchi and his adopted cousin, Angelo, committed the Hillside Strangler murders in L.A., which was murders of 10 girls, young women between the ages of 12 and 28. Pretty famous case. It was a lot of them thought that the Hillside Strangler was also Richard Ramirez at the time, too.
Oh, yeah, the Night Stalker.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
So Bianchi was never charged with the Alphabet murders, and he has vehemently denied any culpability in the homicides, and he has repeatedly attempted to have investigators officially clear him of suspicion. So while residing in Rochester, he is known to have driven a vehicle of the same color and model as the vehicle seen near one of the abduction sites, which that's going to be circumstantial. Very circumstantial, because apparently everybody drives the same fucking car there.
Yes, good fuck. Did the entire town band together and try killing everybody with the same first and last initial?
I know, man. It's crazy.
There are way too many credible suspects. We've got the creepy uncle, the garage rapist, the Hillside Stranglers, Clark Griswold, and then this next guy you're going to bring into it.
Yeah, this next piece of shit, he's a pretty good suspect, too.
Yes.
So in April of 2011, a 77-year-old named Joseph Naso was arrested in Reno, Nevada for the murder of 4 women in California that had been committed between 1977 and 1994. I don't know why it took him so long to catch this fucking guy. All of whom are believed to have been prostitutes. Each of these victims had a last name that began with the same letter as their first name. Just like in Rochester. Remember, these murders were committed in California. Naso was, you guessed it, a New York native who lived in Rochester during the early 70s and who is known to have regularly traveled between New York and California. The murders around Rochester, New York were dubbed the Alphabet Killings because, again, each of the victims' first and last names shared the same initial. Chillingly, one of the 10-year-old victims in the Rochester area carried the same name as a woman allegedly murdered by Naso in California years later. And that was Carmen Colon.
That's creepy.
Common name, but it's still a pretty interesting coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. A connection does exist, albeit somewhat tenuous. In 1980, a 22-year-old woman named Sheila Shepard from Saratoga Springs in New York State was found strangled and naked in her bed. Another double initial murder, including with the city where she was dumped in Saratoga Springs, Sheila Shepard. Initially described as a person of interest in the Alphabet murders, DNA testing, unfortunately, once again confirmed is not a match with the samples recovered from the body of Wanda.
That's what the fuck is going on in Rochester?
I don't
Everybody is a fucking suspect in this.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy, though, he was a piece of work. He kept, like, rape journals, and he had pictures, and he was definitely a piece of shit.
Yeah, they had, like I told you before when we were researching this, some of the people that found the pictures and the rape journal, all these detectives, they saw the pictures, and they're like, this woman is dead that he has a picture of him having sex with.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
There were pictures of his victims that he took, and they were definitely dead.
Woof. Good grief. It's
So
like
it-
having an orgy in a Golden Girls fucking episode. Gross.
In June of 2013, he was charged with murder of the 4 California alphabet murder victims, and he was unanimously convicted of each murder.
Oh.
So this is a little kind of an interesting little conspiracy theory, and that is the killings. The killer chose Carmen, then Wanda, then Michelle, not only because of the matching initials, but because their initials were grouped, where an abbreviation for the abductor or killer's possible words to his victims, "Come with me."
CWM, come
Yeah.
with me. Yeah, CWM can pertain to anybody, like Biden, can't wash myself, or me, can't watch MASH, or my favorite, Jimmy Kimmel, craps while masturbating. I
Yeah.
fucking hate Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Yes.
While these murders do seem to be similar, there is a possibility they were unrelated, or I think at least Carmen is unrelated. Carmen Cologne.
Oh, yeah.
Her uncle seems like a pretty good fucking suspect for her murder. They need to go to Puerto Rico and exhume his body.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with a lot of physical evidence now lost or destroyed, and the lack of reliable leads or witnesses, a lot of these people are probably dead or senile. This will unfortunately probably continue to go on as being an unsolved case.
I read that in March 2022, some lady posted on TikTok that she believes her grandpa was a killer because he owned a grocery store and lived close by. If you ask me, this sounds like somebody was left out of the will. She's just trying to fuck him over.
Yeah, no, this girl, she's a TikTok person, whatever. Her name's Alexis. You remember when Wanda was at the grocery store getting groceries and then she was walking home?
Yep.
This is the grocery store she stopped at. This guy supposedly owned this store.
Ooh.
And she also claims that her grandfather knew the family and Wanda. And guess what? He owned a brown station wagon that
Yes.
looked just like everybody else's. And this is kind of interesting too. He also had several cats that he kept in the basement of his store to catch mice. And you'll remember that like all of these girls had white cat hair on them.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So it's like Dahmer's virtual apartment.
So that's another one. So, okay, we've got... Hold up. I got to go over this now. The grandpa with the fucking grocery store.
Yeah.
We got Joseph Naso, the creepy uncle, the garage rapist, the hillside strangler, Clark Griswold, of course.
Right.
That is a lot of fucking suspects. And the Robert Redford guy, whoever
Yeah.
that is.
There's a lot of good suspects, but they cleared a couple of these guys. They were guilty of a bunch of other shit, but they cleared them of at least being tied to Wanda. Like I said, is the only one that has any DNA evidence left.
I guarantee you, if you went back in time, got a hold of Doc Brown, went back in time and pulled in a daycare, there'd be like 9 brown cars with
Oh, yeah.
these creepy old guys with their pants off,
Oh,
just
definitely.
fucking waiting to pick up the kids.
Yeah, one of the big consistencies with all of these people is the vehicle, and it was always like a brown or beige or tan colored car, and all of these guys owned one.
That is messed up.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of creepy if you went to some kind of like scrap yard, like in Rochester, of course.
Probably you have to be
They
Rochester.
should call it Rape Chester. That's what they should call it now.
Oh yeah,
And you can probably get a car that has DNA or some kind of crime scene shit in it easily.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they'd probably be all
Ugh.
no good now. But
No
yeah.
good. Yeah. That's just messed up.
Yeah.
On our next episode, we need to talk about this Jeffrey Dahmer 3D walkthrough thing I was telling you about.
Oh yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, we should definitely. Yeah, we'll talk about that our next episode. We're gonna continue doing a couple of more unsolved cases, culminating with a big one that's a personal favorite of mine. But yeah, that's our episode. We appreciate you for listening. Give us a follow, like on Facebook, Instagram. Send us an email if you have any questions or if you have like a recommendation for something you'd like to hear us do. That's before we get canceled with 2 L's at gmail.com. And yeah, be sure to follow us on your favorite streaming service too, whatever that may be. We're on everything: Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts. That way you'll be notified of new episodes. And yeah, stay tuned for our next unsolved case, and we will see you next time. My name is Cooper.
I own a brown beige. I can't say it. Yes, this is Scott.
I'm Sarah.
And we'll see you next time.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.